Hi guys! Today I'm trying something new. I have a multimedia journal layout for you. But I'm starting with some Copic coloring. Anyway, this is the Flower Lips stamp by Little Blue Button Stamps. And I have been playing around with these kind of multimedia layout faces as cards for the whole last year, I think. And I decided, well, they are supposed to be designed to be kind of multimedia characters, so I really wanted to make a layout with her. Something you will see in this video, I thought I'd start out saying that, is that my layouts are very, very much inspired by Vicky from Clips and Cuts. I will put her YouTube video channel link down below, so if you haven't seen her, you can go and check that out. I really like the simplicity of her layouts, the clean and simpleness of them. And I have learned a lot of the techniques that I'm using from her. But that doesn't mean that I'm remaking her layouts. I'm making my own layout, but with her techniques. So I thought I would say it so you kind of knew it, because I knew that I did it, sort of. But it's my layout. But I really like the clean and simpleness of her multimedia layouts. So that is my big inspiration for these, and this is how I learn. And I must say also, this is my first ever multimedia layout, multimedia journaling. I'm going to do the first page in this journal. And if you want to see me making the rest of the pages, please comment down below, kind of telling me that, so that I kind of figure out what you want also. I love making the journals, but if you rather see me making my cards, then I maybe not present that many layouts, sort of. It's my channel, and I usually do what I want to, but I really appreciate all of your inputs and all of your comments, and it is actually your input and your comments that keep me making videos, because yeah, otherwise I could just make everything for myself, just sit here and do my crafts. But yeah, for this character, the Flower Lips stamp, I have started out with my base colors, mostly because as I'm going to go so much outside my comfort zone making this mixed media, I thought I would be in my comfort zone when I colored the image. And my color medium of choice is Copic's, very much because it goes sort of fast to color. It probably took me about an hour and a half to color this image, but it much faster than if I would have worked with pencils. And also because I'm used to the media of the Copics, and therefore I get the results I want, and I know how to handle them. So I chose to use Copics, and I chose to use a very limited color scheme, because then things would pop, like the red on her lips, because I really wanted her lips to pop in this. I wanted the jacket and the flower to kind of pop, so they are all made in red. The jacket, however, I will do some stenciling over, so I just did some very basic shading, and I didn't really work the color into the paper, so it's a little bit stripy, but that won't be seen in the end. And then I'm gonna mask everything off, so I'm using some masking tape, post-it tape, the inch wide, and kind of make my little mask. I thought I didn't need to be perfect. It's gonna be mixed, it's gonna be a little bit media and art, so didn't need to be super perfect, but I could have printed it on some masking paper and just cut it out that way. I'm using the color I'm using is actually fabric paint that I had, but I really love the gold one. I shouldn't have put some water in it because it got too fluid and it leaked under the stencil, but still I kind of like how it turned out anyway. I'm gonna actually go over this little edge with some other gold later in the video because that became a little bit too thin. So for my journal, I am using one of those dilutions journals. It is 5 by 8. The page is 5 by 8, so it's a mid-size journal, I think. Then I'm using some Tim Holtz tissue paper and some multi-medium matte. I use multi-medium matte for all the gluing because it dries matte. It also gives you this non-porous surface, so you can work with different inks and stuff on top of it. Now, there's a lot of things I'm doing wrong. One being I don't need to cut it like I've done here. You can actually tear it, but then you need the glue to actually have dried. I didn't let it dry. I have a heat tool, but I kind of sort of want the Tim Holtz one because it heats a bigger portion at a time. There's a couple of instances where things didn't dry as much as they should have, and I really should have dried the color in between when I color it. This is gesso. This is white gesso, and this I added water to make it a little bit more translucent. And then I'm using some Tim Holtz paints. I started trying to using the kind of head of the bottle. Didn't work out that good for me, so I went on with a brush. This is from the Ranger brush set. All the links to all the products will be in the description below. I used some chubby shutters and some mowed grass for the green part of it, and then I'm using some wild honey for the edges a little bit later on here. A little tip: if you open up your bottle for the first time, make sure the lid is screwed on properly, because otherwise the color leaks all over the bottle like it did here. So that is something I learned. Be careful. So I have yellow fingers. It probably will take a couple of washes before it get off from my fingers, but I blend in the color to try to get it very blended. The honey kind of helps it to have an edge on the layout that I can use. Now I'm using a little Posca pen, gold Posca pen. Posca pens have really good coverage, and it matched the dye I used pretty good, so I was happy about that. Then I'm using my Martha Stewart craft knife to cut things out. And here's a little tip: use the knife before you cut the edges. Every time I have made a card, I always remember when I have cut out the character that I should have done the knife cutting before. It actually makes it much easier to cut everything on the image. It's hard to hold on to certain pieces when you have cut out the outlining part, so using that is really good. Now I cut this too straight, so I used a couple of Lawn Fawn dies on some pattern paper that I had just laying around, and then I'm using a Copic marker around that to give it a little tiny bit of dimension. It's actually pretty good green, so it matches the background. Now, again, something I did wrong. I should have put the glue onto the page and not onto her. It would have been much easier. It actually have let go on certain places, but hey, It's my first layout, so you can't get everything. I did it because I felt the line would be a little bit too stark against the background. Then I actually covered the whole part in some multimedia. I don't know if I need to do that, but I did. And then I'm going in with this pen. It's a Faber-Castell Indian ink pen. And Vicky over at Clips and Cut uses these materials very, very often in her layouts. And she uses the big brush pens. I couldn't find them in my art store, but these thinner pens works just as good. The only thing is that you get a much thinner line, so you need to scribble a little bit more if you want a wider shadow, but I kind of like the thin shadows, which I also put around the edges to kind of frame the image. Then I'm using a whole bunch of different stamps from Lawn Fawn, different letter stamps, together with some of these alphabets, just mixed and matched. And then I'm using these kind of leaves and branches, also by Lawn Fawn, and using some brown ink to frame the whole layout. Using the same Indian ink pen for the rare because it didn't stamp so good. I tried to stamp the word as complete, and as the first page isn't really grounded thoroughly to my craft table, it didn't really stamp that well. So then I just stamped every single letter by themselves. It took some time. It actually took almost like 20 minutes, an hour, half an hour to do it, and therefore I cut it all out. And after I had stamped everything in, I used some of the multimedia mat on top of the letterings in Blooms Is and All, because they are stickers and I wanted them to be thoroughly set down. And to finish the layout off, I'm using my white gel pen. This is the broad tipped gel pen, and I'm just putting the white on the edges, on the sides, on the left side and the bottom, to kind of give a little bit more dimension to all of the little letters. And that is the complete layout for today. And the flower that blooms in adversity is the more rare and the beautiful of all, and I felt that would be a very good sentiment to think about. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just comment down below. If you want to see more of this, just hit that subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!